Good evening. Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. It is Kimberly Jones. I'm back on again. What's happening? What's happening? What are you guys up to this afternoon? Come on in. Come on in. Wherever you're logging in from, come on in and let's have a conversation about coaching and about why you should become a coach and answer any questions that you might have about coaching. So that's what this broadcast is about. God bless you, Courtney. Thank you for coming in from California. God bless you. I think you were on earlier today, so good to see you back on again. Listen, for those of you who are coming on for the first time, it's Pastor Kimberly Jones, Coach Kimberly Jones, coming at you this afternoon to kind of chat it up about this whole phenomena of coaching. There are so many coaches out there, so many people that are coaching in different areas. And so I wanted to come on this afternoon and just talk about coaching and also answer any questions that you might have, and also tell you about my amazing coaching certification program that's getting ready to, we're getting ready to start another class here in just a few days. So I wanted to come on and talk about that this afternoon. So do me a favor and do like, who is that shared? Do like Sandra High did and go on and share out the broadcast. Tell somebody that we're on and we're going to talk about something that's really important, something that's really important to all of us as it pertains to living out our dreams, living out loud, living on purpose, and all those sorts of things. So if you don't know me, again, my name is Kimberly Jones. I'm a co-pastor in the Atlanta area at Prevailing Love Worship and Deliverance Center in Stone Mountain, Georgia. I pastor alongside my husband, Apostle Louis D. Jones Jr. We've been pastoring for over 18 years in the Atlanta area, and we love what it is that God has called us to do in this hour, which is to raise up God's people to identify and live out their purpose and their destiny, to identify it, to embrace it, to identify it, embrace it, and execute it. Okay. And so no matter how we show up, we're going to be talking about that. Whether we are preaching, teaching, or praying, or prophesying, we are going to be pushing you to be the very best version of yourself, the God version of yourself, so that you can fulfill your ultimate destiny. Okay. So I'm glad that you're on. If you're watching by replay, God bless you. Please watch the entire broadcast because it's going to be a blessing to you. Okay. Earlier today, I was on and I was talking about the realm of the prophetic and what some of those expectations and anticipations should be when we are people who hear God, who know the voice of God, who recognize the voice of God, and who govern ourselves after what it is that God is saying. So this is what I believe. I believe all that to be true, and I stand on everything that I said earlier. But now I want to come back and I want to kind of talk about how after we have heard the word of the Lord, after God has told us that we're going to be amazing, we're going to be great, that we're going to touch lives in such an impactful way. He tells many of us that we're going to be entrepreneurs. I remember when the word came to me that I was going to be an entrepreneur and that I would be very successful at whatever I put my hands to. I can remember at that time thinking, wow, is she really talking about me? I remember the woman of God called me up and gave me that prophetic word. And, you know, it seemed like from then until now, so much has transpired. And that was so many years ago. That was so many years ago. And I have seen God's word manifest. And I've seen the prophetic word that was released over my life come to fruition. I've seen it come to fruition. And let me tell you, it's not that I just sat around and twiddled my thumbs when the word came. I believed the word, it was hard because I had not been, I had tried several things, y'all. Let me just share this. I had tried several different types of businesses. Okay. And we're going to get to the coaching, but I got to tell you this part. I had tried, if I could tell you how many things that I did, okay? If I could tell you how many different business ventures I had, you would probably not even believe it. You'd probably not even believe that I did some of the things that I did in my pursuit to find out exactly what it is that God had in store for me as it pertains to entrepreneurship and stepping out by faith and doing my business full time like I'm doing today. And so I done, you know, I've sold insurance. I was a real estate agent. I used to sell women's clothing. I used to sell women's shoes and handbags. I used to sell jewelry. Man, I have done a whole lot, y'all. I have done a whole lot because I think the entrepreneurial spirit has always been inside of me. But I was doing things that I like to do, but not necessarily the things that I was called to do. And so, with all of those pursuits, what I found is that I just had a certain level of success in doing those things. Hey, Rashika. Hey, Courtney. Hey, Queen Cynthia. God bless you. Hey, Kimberly. So glad you're on. And I had a certain level of success in those areas because, you know, I was naturally gifted. You know, I'm a hard worker, and I'm going to put my all in whatever it is that I pursue. But, you know, it's a very dangerous thing to have your efforts and your drive directed in a way that is not aligned with your God ordained purpose. Okay. Now you'll be able to do some things. And I've worked in everything from pharmaceuticals. I was substitute teaching for a while. Man, I was doing a lot of things. And I was even driving a bus for a season, y'all. I was doing all of that. Y'all probably looking at me like, are you kidding, Pastor Kim? You did all of that? Absolutely, I sure did. And I was in pursuit of my purpose. I was in pursuit of the thing that God created me for. Some of those stints were just a layover to get me to where it is that I needed to be. I went back to school. I got my bachelor's degree. I got my master's degree. And in counseling, and I just knew that was what I was going to be doing. And so I was getting my ducks in a row. I was trying to find my way. Many of you that are watching right now, you're trying to find your way. You're trying to identify why you were created and what you were created to do. Now, one thing that I know for sure about all of us is that we are created on purpose and for purpose. Okay. Can you type that? I am created on purpose and for purpose. That goes without saying. Okay. We know that our life is not just a fleeting moment unless we make it that way. Our life is just not a fleeting moment that we're here one day and gone the next. No, God created each and every one of us on purpose. I always refer to the scripture in Jeremiah where God is speaking to the prophet and he tells, before you were formed in your mother's womb and before you came forth, right? Before you came forth, I sanctified you, I set you apart, and I ordained you to be a prophet unto the nations. And so if God did that for Jeremiah, why wouldn't he do it for me and you? Why wouldn't he do it for us? He absolutely positively did it for us and is doing it for us right now. This is the way I always put it, y'all, that each and every one of us are God's idea. You are God's idea. Can you type that? I want to motivate you and kind of get you stirred up this evening, okay? I want you to decree and declare that you are God's idea. Come on, say it, say it. I want you to remind yourself. You know, I want you to kind of, say that out loud or type it in the comments or what have you, because I want you to know that you are God's idea. I know your mom and dad came together and after 9 months, here you are, right? But even before that, the Bible tells us that God knew us. He knew us. He knew everything about us. He knew what we would be and who we would be. The Bible also talks about him, predestinating us, right? And him choosing us, right? And him glorifying us. He does all of that in spite of knowing everything that we'll do. He knows every mistake that we're going to make. He knows every time we're going to trip up. He knows every time we're going to be disobedient. And guess what? In light and in spite of all of that, he still chooses you and me. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that awesome? So why would we be walking around in the earth, twiddling our thumbs, walking around, and wandering in the desert, wondering what in the world am I here for? When if we would just simply pursue God with everything on the inside of us, we could find out exactly what our purpose is. I want somebody to type, I'm here on purpose and for purpose. I am here on purpose and for purpose, and I'm going to live on purpose. Okay. And so I'm talking about all of this. I'm talking about my journey because at the end of the day, I finally got introduced to this whole discipline of coaching, life coaching. And when I got introduced to the discipline of life coaching, something kind of quickened on the inside of me. Have you ever been introduced to something or been in the midst of something that really brought you life? It really brings you life. You feel like you're right at home. Something about that resonates with you. Something about that feels comfortable to you. And when I heard about the discipline of coaching, I knew beyond a shadow of doubt that it was what I was supposed to be doing. Even though I had gone back to school and gotten my education in the field of counseling, which I still use, and got my bachelor's and my master's degree in that. And when I heard about coaching, I said, you know what? This is for me. And I'm going to tell you why coaching was for me, okay? Coaching was for me because of what it represents, okay? And so let me break that down for you. And Rashika, who is signed up for my coaching certification cohort that's beginning on Monday, October 26th, you're going to learn all of this in depth, okay? I'm just giving a little, I'm just skimming off the surface a little bit. But the whole concept of coaching really brought me life because coaching is more about where you're going versus where you've come from. And if I could just sum it up in a nutshell, that's how I put it. Coaching is more about where you're going versus where you come from. And as a counselor and operating in that field and helping people and counseling people, what I understand about counseling is that many times counseling allows the client to really reconcile some things in their past, right? Some things in their past. And you spend a lot of time talking about what happened and, what somebody did to you or what you did to somebody or the life that you lived or how you were raised and things of that sort, and try to come to some type of reconciliation with all of that in your present day life. And for many people, that's very hard. And so you will find people who are in counseling for years and years and years. And there is nothing wrong with counseling. As a matter of fact, I'm a great proponent of counseling. And if you need counseling, you need to go get some counseling. Let me tell you, if I need counseling, I'm going to go at a drop of a hat. Okay. I'm going to talk to somebody. It's so therapeutic to get in the presence of somebody who is well learned and well versed, somebody who is spiritually minded, who believes in what you believe in, has the same faith that you can sit down and you can talk to about what's going on in your life. That's a wonderful thing. And the reason I say that counseling is good and you should go to somebody who believes what you believe, so that you can be directed and you can be counseled in a way that aligns with your beliefs, that aligns with your values, okay? Because you mess around here and go to a counselor who believes something different than what you believe, and they'll have you going in a direction that is totally opposite of your faith. So I do believe in counseling. I do believe heavily in faith-based counseling with people who have a background in the Word of God, who are faith-filled, who know Jesus. I believe in that. And there's a lot of us out there, okay? So that's just, that's just a little pointer. If you need to go to a counselor, okay? So I love counseling. But when I came in contact with coaching, it gave me life, y'all. It gave me life because for so many years, yours truly was stuck in her past. Like I would rehearse my past over and over and over and over again. And let me tell you, it was very sordid. Now, I have a lot of stories about, how I grew up and how I came up through a lot of rejection and abandonment, how I was separated from my mother and wasn't raised by her and felt a whole lot of rejection from my mother and the impact that had on my life. And I would rehearse that story over and over and over again until it became a part of me, right? It wasn't just my story, but it was who I was. And so I was a walking, talking, breathing, living bundle of rejection and abandonment. And so everything that I did, every relationship that I encountered, every pursuit that I took on was through the lens of rejection and abandonment. So how do you think that worked out for me? Well, it ended up causing me a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, just a lot of confusion and chaos in my life. And so I kept, I stayed in that place and, I didn't allow a deliverance to take place in my life. And I just rehearsed these things over and over and over again. I spent many years in the grips of depression, deep depression. So much so that I didn't want to live anymore. Okay, I'm probably telling y'all way more than you want to hear, but I didn't want to live anymore, and I did on a few occasions try to take my own life. Right, but I love the fact that God knows the way that we take. And I love the fact that in my attempts to end a life that didn't belong to me, because my life didn't belong to me, it belongs to Jesus, okay? I didn't realize it back then, but I'm glad that the power of God and the sovereignty of God prevailed in my life, okay? And so I got through that and I got myself together, going through all of that. And that's when I finally got myself together, went back to school, did all of that. And I found this thing called coaching. Okay. So coaching says, okay, it does not ignore your past. It does not deny your past, but it looks at your past from a different perspective. Now, your past isn't something for you to be stuck in. It's something that you can use to catapult you into your destiny, okay? And so listen, this is the one thing that I believe about our past experiences. I believe that we all have the capability to rewrite our stories. I believe that. And even though the details of our past, they stay the same, they remain the same. How we look at it and how we tell our story and how we use our experiences can change the very trajectory of our lives. Because many times if we look at our past and we see doom, gloom, and despair, we're going to always stay there. But if we look at our past and say, you know what, God helped me out of some things. And because God spared my life, today I'm able to be who I am and I'm able to help other people. And that's my passion. Today, my passion is to help other women who are in ministry and who are in business, come from the backside of the mountain and to stop them from hiding out back there and dummying down their anointing and watering down their passion and come out and lead from the front. There are so many women, some of you might be listening today, there are so many women who are afraid to stand up in who they really are. And that's why I love coaching. I love coaching women into their purpose and their destiny. And so coaching is about moving forward. It's about taking the details of your past and the details even of your present and putting them together in a way that is instrumental in moving you forward. So coaching takes you from where you are to where it is that God has called you to be. So how many of you on here, say that, you know what, I'm really not where I need to be? Come on. How many of you on here can honestly say, I am not where I need to be, that God has more for me? You can listen. I'm not going to tell anybody. How many of you that are on this broadcast right now are in a place where you feel stuck, where you feel like, you don't have any answers about your life. You don't have any rhyme or reason as to why you are here. You've been trying to figure it out for a long time, and you're ready for something different. How many of you are on here? I see a few hands. I see a few me's, and I understand. I understand where you are, and I understand how it can be to be in that place, in that space. And so coaching is a great tool for people who feel that way. Now, there's another category of people that are probably on this broadcast who have a passion for helping other people. Like everybody comes to you. You are like the go-to person. You always have that listening ear. God gives you strategy. He gives you revelation. He gives you the ability to map out things for other people, right? He gives you that type of connection and relationship with people that makes it easy for them to relate to you, talk to you, and trust you. How many of those people are on here this afternoon? And then if that's you, you may be a perfect candidate for this whole discipline of coaching. And this is the hour of the coach. This is what I really wanted to get to. This is the hour of the coach. And what I mean by that is that the state that the world is in right now, we need people who are willing to invest their talent of walking alongside others, who are willing to invest their talent of doing that into the lives of other people. So coaching is not for the faint at heart, okay? Coaching is not for you if you don't like people. Okay, if you don't like people, you're probably not going to be a good coach. If you don't have any level of patience, you're probably not going to be a really good coach. But if you know that you're already coaching people and you're already investing your time and you spend hours upon hours helping other folk figure out their lives, then you may just be a great candidate for coaching. And so I wanted to come on to talk about that. I wanted to come on to present that to some of you all because this is the time for you to pursue your dream of becoming a certified life personal development coach, a personal development life coach, okay? I have an 8-week online program where I teach people just like you how to understand and operate in the discipline of coaching. Now, there are several sets of individuals who find their way into my classes. And let me talk about all of those categories. One, and the most prominent category is those people who say, you know what, I want to start a coaching business. I want to do this full time. This is my passion. And I just want to, jump both feet in, and take the plunge and start coaching people and develop a stream of income from doing the thing that I love, okay? And that's a wonderful thing. That's exactly what happened to me. I was working out in the marketplace. I had a really good job, right? I had a 9-to-5, and it was dictating everything about what I did. When I woke up, when I went to bed, right? When I was with my family and when I had to be on the job, what time I could come home. There were nights that I didn't get off work till 8 o'clock at night with a teenager in high school and a grandchild and a daughter, a young adult daughter, and a full-time husband, y'all, working an amazing job, helping people. But still, I was working on developing and solidifying and creating success for somebody else in their dream. I've always been a hard worker, and no matter where I've worked, I've always given my 100%. And so I was working really hard on that job, and I was doing really good, and I was getting all the accolades, and I was getting all the awards, and people were singing my praises as a mental health professional. But there was something missing on the inside of me. You see, the definition of success is whatever you say it is, all right? The definition of success is whatever you say it is and then what you do about it. And so we can talk about success and we can talk about, what it looks like and what it feels like for somebody else and what the world says it is. But we have to be able to identify what success looks like for us. And for me, success was being able to work in the field that I loved, being able to work with women who were just like me, who had come through some of the same things that I'd come through, who had experienced some travesties in their lives and a whole lot of dysfunction, but yet and still had greatness on the inside of them. It was my passion to work with those women to say, you know what? If God did it for me, he'll do the same for you. And so even though I had a good job, it wasn't my God place, okay? It wasn't my God place. There was more for me. Hey, Optimistic, how are you? God bless you. And so I decided to take the leap. I decided to jump. I prayed about it. I talked to my husband about it. And I came off of that job and started my business full time. Now, let me just put this in here. Let me just insert this right here. For those of you who are working a job and you're like, I can't do that right now. It's not feasible for me to do that right now. I totally understand. I worked on my job for 2 years. And the whole time I was working my 9 to 5 and making somebody else great, I was working my business for 8 hours when I got home. And so I was up all wee hours of the morning working on living on purpose and creating creating coaching programs and working with clients. I was working with clients on my lunch break. I was working with clients out in the car, on my lunch breaks. I would go to the mall and meet clients whenever I could fit it in during my work day, when I would get breaks or when I would get lunch. And so I worked two full-time positions. I would dare not give more attention and more energy to somebody else's dream versus my dream. So there's some of you on here right now, you're saying, well, I can't do it full time, so I'm not going to do it at all. That doesn't make sense, because the time to get started is right now. You don't want to wait to come off of a job that you've been working, that's been providing a source of income to you, and it come to a screeching halt, and now you're trying to scrap really hard to get the business off the ground. When I came off of my job after 2 years, I had a really good running start. And so this may be the time for you to get your running start, so that when God says, okay, you can go on and you can launch out into the deep, you'll be ready to do it. So I already had a somewhat of a client base. I already had done my homework in developing my website. I had business cards. I had a logo. I had established my business as a legal entity, right? I had done all of that. And so when I came off of my job, I was ready to just slide right on into doing what I love to do on a full-time basis. It won't happen like that for everybody. Some of you might have lost your job and you didn't have any choice in the hard stop. And so now you find yourself in a place where you're trying to figure out, what am I supposed to be doing? Listen, remember that you're created on purpose and for purpose, and that job did not identify who you are. I just want to put that bug in your ear, because some of you get your identity from what you do versus who you are. And who you are is a child of the Most High God. And no matter where you show up, no matter what you do, success is your portion if you do the work. And that's one thing that I say all the time, is that we cannot be lazy. Come on. There we go. There's the L word. We cannot be lazy and expect to attain any level of success. And so I started doing my business full time, and the Lord just has allowed it to evolve over the years. I came out and the Lord allowed me to create a community on social media, on Periscope, on Facebook, on Instagram, and just begin to work my business. Now, in the process of time, the Lord has taken me down so many different paths. And when I first came off my job, I wasn't certifying other coaches. I never knew that this program of certifying coaches was a part of my destiny. I had no idea. I had gone through a coaching certification program myself, and I understood the importance of it. And one day, God said, why aren't you doing it? I was getting so many requests from people. So many people were asking me, do you train coaches? Do you certify coaches? And for a long time, I had to tell them no. I had to say, no, I don't do that. And after a while, the Holy Spirit started speaking to me and started convicting me. Why are you continuing to say no to something that you can do? And it was from that point that, listen, I got myself together and I said, okay, God, I'm going to do it. And this is something that I tell everybody that I coach, that I train, that I mentor. I tell them, listen, and I know God has not given us a spirit of fear. I know that. I understand that. But sometimes before we have been delivered from that particular fear, we got to do it afraid. We got to do it afraid. We got to do it afraid, trusting that God will not take us into a place that he'll not keep us, okay? Any place that God takes us into, he keeps us and he supports us and he undergirds us. And so when he told me to launch out into the deep and start this coaching certification program, it was scary. It was intimidating because I had never done it before. And you know how the enemy works, right? The enemy will tell you, you're not qualified for that. What makes you think that you can do that? Nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody's going to entertain your business or your program, right? Nobody's going to come under your tutelage when it comes to coaching. And I just decided not to listen to them. And sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to decide not to listen to what the enemy is saying. And you got to make up in your mind to do the opposite of what he's saying that you can or cannot do, okay? So if he says you can't do it, you say you can do it. If he tells you that you can do it and you're supposed to do it, you better watch out. It's probably something that you're not supposed to be doing. And so I've learned to respond in an opposite manner when the enemy tries to speak to me and keep me out of my purpose and my destiny. And so fast forward 3 years later, I think I started in 2017. Yeah, 3 years later. And I just certified my 108th, I think we got 108 coaches under our belt now. 108. And the reason I'm telling you guys this story is because you never know what's chalked on the inside of a yes. You never know what's chalked on the inside of a yes. And just think about it. Had I said no and continued to say no to what God was calling me to, I would not have had the opportunity to pour into so many different coaches, okay? And we just had our last graduation. Nelvia Johnson, who's on with us, she was one of the graduates from our last cohort of students. And so that, it's 8 weeks. It's an online course. The one thing that I really love about my coaching certification program is that not only do you learn to be a coach, but you are coached in the process. If you want to know what it feels like to be coached, then you need to get in the program, okay? And so those individuals who are part of the program, they get coached as they are on their journey to being certified, okay? So I have people who want to start their business. I have people who come in to get certified so that they can use their coaching certification in ministry. So I believe that coaching is one of the greatest benefits to any ministry. Anybody that's in ministry, anybody that works with people, if you are out in the marketplace and you are supervising or managing people, coaching will help you in such an amazing way because it will teach you how to transfer the responsibility of someone's life back into their hands. And that's good. That's a good thing. A coach should always be working himself or herself out of a client, because it's always my goal that my coaching clients become independent and are able to stand on their own 2 feet and use some of the practices, some of the strategies that they're taught in coaching in order to structure their lives in a way where they can make good decisions, where they can make smart goals, where they can create strategies for their life, for their business. I coach people who have started businesses, who have been authors. I've coached people who are trying to excel in the marketplace. I've coached many women of God who were trying to find their way in ministry. I've coached women into doing their own conferences and events and creating their own programs. I've just had the opportunity, because I said yes to God, to impart into so many lives. And I love that. I love that. It's a blessing. It's an honor. And so people come into the coaching program because they want to start business. They come in because they want to be trained in a way that they can use coaching in ministry. I have people that just come in for their own personal development so that they're able to be more effective in whatever place they show up in the world, whether it's in their family, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in the church, just to know how to effectively deal with people and create a positive change. Create positive change. So listen, if you're on right now and you have any questions about coaching, I would be more than happy to answer your questions. If there's anybody on that wants to go through a coaching demonstration, let me know, and I'll bring you on and we'll do a coaching demonstration. If I have any takers for that, or if you're interested in the coaching program and being a part of what we're going to do starting on Monday, October 26th, you can go to Kimberly Jones Global and register for that class. If you want to look into the class and have questions about payment plans or things of that sort, we can talk to you about that as well. And so I'm excited. Hey, Brenda, how are you? I'm excited about what it is that we're doing in this hour. And I'm just ready to pour into more individuals. I'm ready to continue in my yes to God, to train up people to be, again, the very best version of themselves that God has called them to be, living on purpose and making every day count. Making every day count. Now, that was a mouthful. Does anybody on have any questions or any comments, anything that you want to know about coaching, any questions that you want to know about it? It's a great discipline. And like I said, right now is the hour of the coach. It's the hour of the coach. And let me tell you why. Because the world is looking for practical answers. The world is looking for practical answers. And we can give, like I was talking about earlier, we can give the word of the Lord. I can preach you under the table, right? I can preach until I'm blue in the face. I can tell you every scripture in the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I can read all the scriptures and I can tell you what thus saith the Lord. But if you don't have the motivation to get up and do something different with your life, the word is going to do you no good. The Bible even tells us that faith without works is what? It's absolutely positively dead. And so that's why I love coaching, because especially as a woman of faith, because now I can integrate what I know according to the word and what I know according to the spirit and according to my faith and what I know according to the natural disciplines and strategies of coaching. I can integrate those things. I don't have to be scared to say Jesus or God or pray or, do those things that are characteristic of who I am in the spirit. I can integrate and I can incorporate those things in my coaching processes. And so if you're afraid that I can't coach because, I can't be who I naturally am or spiritually am, it's not true. You can be who it is that God has called you to be while you're coaching and equipping others to walk in their purpose and to walk in their destiny. Nelvia says, there's a young man on my job that would be an amazing coach. Can I send you his information? Absolutely. Absolutely. If he's interested, is he interested in going through the training? Absolutely. You can send me his information. If he has any questions, I would be glad to answer any questions that he might have. Okay. So, yeah, right now is the hour of the coach because people need to know how to get things done. There are people who have been displaced. They've been displaced in many ways. Maybe they had a job and they don't have that job anymore. Now they have to be able to create a plan or a strategy to move forward. Maybe they were in a relationship. Maybe they were married or in a relationship, a long-term relationship that ended throughout this year sometime. And now they got to figure out, how do I gain my bearings and move forward with just me, right? Or maybe and we know that we've experienced a lot of this. There are a lot of people who have experienced grief and they may be in counseling right now to deal with some of those emotions, but they might need a coach. So now how do I get up and I move forward when my spouse is passed away, or my mother or my father or my sister or my brother or what have you is not here any longer, and my whole life was wrapped around that individual? You can coach that person into creating a plan for themselves that can get them unstuck, that can get them out of the rut and moving forward in a productive and a meaningful way. Yes. That's right, Tina. The world is in need of godly leaders to make an impact, right? And so that it'll ripple through society. I like that. So that's what it's about. It's about duplicating our efforts. So if I say yes to God as a coach and I begin to coach individuals, then hopefully that person will be empowered enough that they can take what they've learned and what they've garnered through interaction with me as their coach and help somebody else. If I am a coach and I'm training coaches, other women of God, other men of God, who want to do the same thing, then now not only am I impacting lives as a coach, but so are they through business or through ministry or through day-to-day interactions that they might have where they come in contact with somebody that could benefit from coaching. So trauma transitions. That's good. You know, those traumatic transitions that we find ourselves in, many times coaching is a good tool. It's a good tool. Sometimes it will complement counseling. There are certain situations that need counseling instead of coaching because they need professional experience, right? They need someone who knows the discipline and understands the nuances of what trauma is and how trauma impacts an individual's lives. Sometimes they need a therapeutic approach to whatever it is that they're going through. And so in the training, we talk about that. We talk about making the delineation or the differentiation between what a coach is, what a counselor is, what a mentor is, right? What a consultant is, so that we know how to stay in our lane. We have to know how to stay in our lane as a coach. So I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to share. I wanted to invite those of you who are watching to be a part of the class that starts on Monday, October 26th, as I walk alongside those individuals who are ready to take that leap of faith and be trained and equipped and certified to go out there and coach others into their destinies. Okay. And then, sometimes I even coach myself. I can coach myself knowing what I know as a master life and empowerment coach. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this hour that we're in. I'm excited about what God is doing. And I'm excited that I get to share all of this with you all. If you need more information, let me just post right here where you can go to my website and you can find out more information about what I do at www.kimberlyjonesglobal.com. And you also can go to www.kimberlyj.net and find out more information about that. Okay. Absolutely. Tina, we can talk about it. Yeah, we can talk about it if it's something you think you'd be interested in. I don't think that anybody who has gone through the program has anything negative to say about it. I've seen the coaches that have matriculated through the program do amazing things, y'all. They're out there and they're moving and they're shaking and they're showing up big, B-I-G. They're showing up boldly, intentionally, in God's way. I always say that if you're going to show up, you might as well show up big, boldly, intentionally, in God's way. So thank you guys for coming on and listening to my my little spiel about Living on Purpose coaching certification program. I hope that it has informed you and given you some knowledge about the discipline of coaching that maybe you didn't have before, and has motivated you even enough to reach out and find out what this thing is all about, and how you can be a part again of our class that kicks off on Monday, October 26th, just a few short days away. So listen, guys, thank you for coming on. I think I might be on one more time because I think that there's something else that I may want to share a little later on. So y'all listen out for the notification. I know I've been burning y'all ears off today. I know. But I got to move when God says move. Sometimes you might not hear from me for a while, but when God begins to speak, I can't listen. I'm like Jeremiah. It's like fire shut up in my bones, right? I cannot forbear. I must say what the Lord is speaking. So God bless you. I love you. Thank you for coming on, and we'll talk to you real soon, okay?